Welcome back. I'm Wes Wood, the Income Guy. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We're looking at how investing for income makes retirement income a renewable resource. And we've covered the strategic differences between investing for growth versus income. Now let's clarify the whole thing with a fun analogy. Let's say you retire at 60 years old and you move to a little house in a new town. And let's say this town happens to have a law that says you can only heat your home with a wood-burning furnace, and you must use only the trees that are on your property for fuel. And you decide to go for it. So you begin by counting up all the trees on your land to determine if you have enough wood to last you 30 years. And it looks good. You do some calculations to figure out how much wood you can use every year without running out of wood. In the first years, you're very confident. You're so confident you heat your house to nice and cozy 72 degrees. But then a big storm hits, and it gets you thinking. You think, what if a tornado comes through and kills a bunch of my trees? So you get a little more cautious, and you start keeping your heat at 65 degrees to burn less wood. Then you go at the age of 70 years old to get a checkup from your doctor. And your doctor says, hey Bob, great news. You're healthy now as you were when you were 60 years old. As that may be great news, it makes you start thinking, what if I live past the age of 90 years old? Maybe I need more wood than just 30 years of it. So you get more cautious and you start keeping your house at a 60-degree temperature. That means in these prime years of retirement, instead of enjoying your good health, you're cold and constantly worried. You spend the next 10 years like that. Then you turn 80. And guess what? Yep, your doctor gives you another great checkup. Now you're really worried and you start keeping your heat at 55 or 50 degrees. You're still healthy, but you can't enjoy it because you're colder and more worried than ever about running out of your wood. That's a bit like the emotional turmoil people go through when they start taking systematic withdrawals from mutual funds and spending down the principal. It isn't just a matter of making it to age 71 and realizing you're broke. It's about all the stress and diminished quality of life in the years leading up to that. Now imagine if instead of wood, you had a windmill on your roof or solar panels on your home, and they were heating your home with a renewable energy source for all those years. And I'll talk more about that with Dave Scranton in just a moment. But here's another chance. Here's another chance for you to fix these problems and reach out to me directly at retiretv.com or by calling me at 855-776-0614 to receive your free retirement income kit. Now let's welcome back income specialist and founder of the Retirement Income Store, Dave Scranton. Welcome back, Dave.
Thanks, Wes. You know, it's funny. I've been there so many times pushing the limit where luckily I don't do this in my airplane, but I do when I drive my car and, you know, that yellow light's on, you know you're close to E, and you're questioning whether that distance to empty calculation is really accurate or you're going to run out beforehand. But although you never really run out, there's a lot of stress and anxiety leading up to the time you actually find the gas station, is there not?
Absolutely. I think we've all done it. Either we've run out of gas before or we've seen our gas tank get so close to E and we never think we're going to find that gas station. I can't tell you how many countless times I've driven down to Mississippi to visit some family, and I think I can make it to the very next city, and I believe I will. I normally do, but just the anxiety of seeing it go from maybe 20 miles to go, 10 miles to go, all the way down to E, you know, creates a lot of stress and anxiety. And, you know, when you think about that when it comes to investments, when somebody's draining their portfolio and just hoping for Wall Street to refill their portfolio, it's a lot like that gas tank going all the way down to E. You know, maybe they won't run out of money, but just the fear of potentially running out of money can put a lot of stress and anxiety in those years of retirement that really should be enjoyed without having to really deal with that sort of thing because they're just invested the wrong way.
I think you did a great job with that too, with the heating your house based upon the wood, the trees that you have in your yard. That's great. That's the stress and anxiety side. But let's take a minute and let's explore the other side of it, the positive side. The feeling of knowing that you have unlimited gas to fuel the car. You could drive from Nashville to LA and not worry about it. the feeling of knowing you have enough renewable energy coming in every single day to heat your house to whatever level you want. How good does that feel?
Well, I've seen it with a lot of clients. I've seen it with so many clients that have a sizable portfolio, and we look at how much interest and dividends that they're generating, like a renewable resource, like having unlimited amounts of trees or having solar panels on the roof, never having to worry about turning down the temperature down to 55 degrees just to conserve the trees in the forest, like I mentioned a minute ago. By having that renewable resource of interest and dividends more than they need, I have a lot of clients that do fun stuff with it. So if you know you have more income coming in than you're actually going to spend, I have clients that are giving money to their kids. I have some that are funding even 529 programs for their grandchildren. And like I'm going to talk about a show in next couple of weeks here about rewarding yourself in retirement. I even have some clients that buy that 1960 Mustang that they've always cherished to have when they're a child because they know that they have plenty of income coming in to do all those kind of fun things.
Yeah, and isn't it true that, if you had to go to your spouse and say, look, honey, we're going to take 50, 70 grand out of our principal to buy that car I've wanted since I was a teenager, she might look at you with furrowed eyebrow and think, are you really? Come on, if you're doing that, then I'm going to go and redo the kitchen and spend twice as much over here. But the reality is, if it's a renewable resource, if it's just taking 1 year's worth of income or 2 years worth of income, that's a much easier conversation, and that's a much easier decision, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's just say you had a mutual fund portfolio that went from $500,000 and grew $250,000. Well, you're not necessarily going to celebrate by liquidating some of those shares to buy that car, that kitchen. And same is true that if it goes from $500,000 down to $250,000, gets cut in half, then you're definitely not going to do that, and you may even cancel some of those things that you plan to do. But if you know you have interest and dividends coming in from $20,000 to $25,000 a year, and maybe that sports car cost you $50,000, well, you just save up those interest and dividends that have been renewing every year in the portfolio and spend it on all that kind of fun stuff. But thanks again, Dave. I'm Wes Wood, the Income Guy, and thank you for watching. If you have any questions about anything we've covered on today's show, please reach out to me at retiredtv.com or by calling 855-776-0614. Thanks, and we'll see you again next week.
A fiduciary is someone legally obligated to act in your best interest. Doctors, lawyers, and some financial advisors are fiduciaries, but not all. When you work with Wes Wood and his team at Wood Financial Group, you are working with fiduciaries. They help clients create customized investment portfolios based off their retirement goals. If you're ready to work with a fiduciary, visit retiredtv.com and schedule a free, no-obligation conversation with Wes or a Wood Financial Group advisor.